In a quiet corner of the galaxy, Earth thrived in peace. The blue planet, filled with life and beauty, had finally moved past its wars and conflicts. People lived in harmony, focusing on science, art, and exploration. Children played in the streets and families gathered for picnics in lush parks. But lurking beyond the stars, threats brewed that would soon shatter this peace. One day, a small human colony on the edge of space received an unexpected warning. Aliens from a nearby planet known for their fierce raids were spotted approaching. The colony, though prepared for such an attack, never expected the scale of what was to come. Panic spread as the news reached every corner of Earth. Families huddled together, fearing for their loved ones. Among those families was young Lila. At only 12 years old, she was the light of her parents' lives. Her laughter filled their home, and her dreams soared high like the rockets she adored. Lila loved to read stories about brave heroes and daring adventures. She often imagined herself as one of those heroes, flying through space to save the day. On that fateful day, Lila was playing outside with her friends. The sun shone brightly, and the air was filled with joy and laughter. Suddenly, dark ships appeared in the sky, blocking the sun and casting an ominous shadow over the colony. The adults rushed to safety, but Lila, curious and brave, wanted to see what was happening. As the alien ships descended, fear gripped the hearts of the townspeople. The aliens, tall and menacing, emerged from their ships. Their intentions were clear. They sought destruction and chaos. Screams filled the air as they unleashed their weapons, targeting buildings and homes. Lila's friends ran for cover, but she stood frozen, unable to look away from the terrifying scene unfolding before her. In the chaos, Lila saw her parents calling for her. They were terrified but determined to protect their daughter. "Lila, come here!" her mother shouted, her voice filled with panic. Lila turned to run, but just as she did, a loud explosion rocked the ground. The force threw her off her feet, and she landed hard on the ground. When Lila looked up, she saw smoke rising from the remains of her neighborhood. Panic surged through her as she searched for her parents. Where were they? The once happy street was now a scene of destruction. People were crying, calling for loved ones, and the sounds of sirens filled the air. As Lila stumbled through the wreckage, she felt a sharp pain in her leg. She had fallen, and a piece of debris had struck her. But she pushed through the pain, driven by a desperate need to find her family. Finally, she spotted her mother and father among the crowd. Relief washed over her, but it was short-lived. Just as they reached out for her, an alien soldier appeared, aiming its weapon. Lila's heart raced as she realized the danger. Her parents shielded her, but it was too late. A flash of light, a loud bang, and everything went dark. Lila felt a sudden chill as the world around her faded away. Hours later, the dust settled over the colony, but the pain remained. News of Lila's death spread like wildfire across Earth. The once peaceful planet was now filled with sorrow and rage. Communities came together to mourn the loss of a bright young girl whose life was taken too soon. Leaders from all over the world gathered to discuss the tragedy. Lila's death was not just a loss for her family, it was a loss for humanity. The heartache united people in a way they had never expected. They vowed to remember her and to seek justice for what had happened. As night fell, candles were lit in every city, illuminating the darkness. People shared stories of Lila, celebrating her spirit and courage. But beneath the sorrow lay a growing determination. They would not let her death be in vain. Earth would rise, and it would fight back against the aliens who had brought such pain. The peaceful days of Earth were over. Revenge was on the horizon, and humanity's ancient fleet was waiting to be awakened. Lila's story would not end here. It would ignite a fire within every heart, pushing them to seek justice and protect their own. In the days following Lila's tragic death, Earth's leaders gathered in a vast hall, filled with sorrow and anger. The atmosphere was heavy with grief as they faced a harsh truth. Their peaceful existence had been shattered. The aliens had crossed a line, and humanity could no longer sit idle. They needed a plan, a way to fight back. Amid the discussions, an old scientist named Dr. Elara stepped forward. With silver hair and wise eyes, she had devoted her life to studying Earth's history. "We have an ancient fleet," she announced, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "It is buried deep beneath the ocean, built for times just like this." The room fell silent. Many were skeptical. An ancient fleet? Can it even be revived? asked one of the leaders. Dr. Ilara nodded. Yes, it can, but we must act quickly. The longer we wait, the stronger the aliens become. Intrigued, the leaders agreed to let Dr. Ilara lead the mission to awaken the fleet. She quickly assembled a team of experts, including engineers and historians, to help uncover the secrets of the ancient ships. They worked tirelessly, studying blueprints and ancient texts that detailed the fleet's capabilities. Each day brought new challenges, but their determination grew stronger. As word spread across the planet, hope began to rise. People gathered to support the effort, sharing stories of Lila and the other victims of the alien attack. Their memories fueled the fire within the team, pushing them to work harder. After weeks of intense preparation, the team finally located the hidden entrance to the ancient fleet, buried under layers of sand and debris. It was a vast underwater facility, forgotten by time. With every dive, they unearthed relics of a powerful era, including ships that glimmered with advanced technology. When the first ship was revealed, a wave of awe swept over the team. It was massive, with sleek lines and weapon systems designed for interstellar battle. Dr. Ilara's heart raced as she realized the potential of what lay before them. This was humanity's chance to fight back. The crew worked day and night to restore the ships. They cleaned the hulls, repaired engines, and updated systems with modern technology. Engineers collaborated with historians to ensure the ships would be ready for battle. As they worked, they shared stories of their own families and loved ones, reminding each other why they were fighting. As the ships came to life, excitement filled the air. People across the planet watched the news, their hearts swelling with pride as images of the fleet emerged. It was a symbol of hope, a reminder that humanity would not back down. But not everyone was convinced. Some factions still believed in diplomacy. They argued that war would lead to more suffering. Yet with every new story of loss from the alien attacks, public support for the fleet grew stronger. The ancient ships represented the spirit of humanity, a refusal to be victimized. Finally, the day of the fleet's first test arrived. Dr. Ilara and her team gathered at the underwater facility, hearts pounding with anticipation. They initiated the awakening sequence, and the ships roared to life. The sound echoed through the facility like a thunderstorm, and cheers erupted from the crew. As the first ship rose to the surface, sunlight reflected off its hull, casting a brilliant glow. It was a moment of triumph. The crew cheered, and Dr. Ilara felt tears of joy fill her eyes. They had done the impossible. The ancient fleet was ready to fight. With the fleet awakened, Earth's leaders gathered once more. They understood that revenge was not just about anger, it was about protecting their future. Dr. Ilara stood before them, confident and determined. This is our moment. We fight not only for Lila, but for every life that has been lost. We will show the aliens that humanity stands united. As the fleet prepared for its first mission, the atmosphere shifted. Hope replaced despair. The ancient ships were no longer just relics, they were symbols of a new beginning. Earth was ready to reclaim its strength and fight back against the alien menace. The journey ahead would be difficult, but humanity was prepared to face it together. With the ancient fleet now awakened, excitement buzzed through the air. The ships were impressive, but they needed skilled pilots and crew members to operate them. Earth's leaders knew that preparation was crucial. They had to train the best and brightest for the battle ahead. Dr. Ilara, the scientist who had revived the fleet, was appointed to lead the training program. She gathered a team of experienced pilots, engineers, and strategists. Together, they designed a rigorous training schedule that would prepare the crew for the challenges they would face in space. Young and old alike flocked to the recruitment centers. Among them was Jake, a 20-year-old mechanic who had always dreamed of flying. He had watched the news about Lilas Death and felt a fire ignite within him. He wanted to be part of the team that would protect Earth. Alongside him was Maya, a skilled pilot who had flown small crafts but had never experienced a warship. She was determined to prove herself. The training began early each morning. The recruits gathered at the fleet's command center, buzzing with nervous energy. Dr. Ilara welcomed them, her voice strong and encouraging. You are the future of humanity. Together, we will make a stand against the aliens who threaten our lives. Let's show them what we can do! The first few weeks focused on teamwork and basic skills. Recruits learned how to navigate the massive ships, understanding every control and system. They practiced emergency protocols, drills that would help them react quickly in danger. Each day brought new challenges, pushing them to their limits. Jake struggled at first, feeling overwhelmed by the ship's size and complexity. But he refused to give up. During breaks, he stayed behind to study the controls and practice. His determination did not go unnoticed. Maya often joined him, and together they formed a bond, encouraging each other to improve. As they grew more confident, the training shifted to advanced tactics. They learned how to work together as a crew, understanding the importance of communication during battles. Simulated battles were set up, and recruits took turns piloting the ships. The command center filled with sounds of engines roaring and alarms blaring as they fought imaginary enemies. Dr. Ilara watched proudly as her recruits developed into a strong team. She emphasized the importance of strategy. In war, brains are just as important as brawn. Use your minds to outsmart the enemy, she advised. The recruits took her words to heart, studying tactics and developing their own plans. As the weeks passed, the atmosphere changed. Confidence replaced uncertainty. Jake and Maya had become skilled pilots, able to maneuver the ships with ease. They worked seamlessly with their fellow recruits, forming a close-knit team. Laughter and camaraderie filled the training center, easing the tension of their impending mission. But as they trained, doubts occasionally crept in. Some recruits wondered if they were ready for real combat. Would they be able to face the aliens? During a late-night training session, Jake spoke up. "We are fighting for our home, for those we've lost. We owe it to Lila and everyone else to be ready," he said, his voice steady. His words resonated with the team, reminding them of their purpose. Finally, the day of the first real mission approached. The recruits gathered for a final briefing. Dr. Ilara stood before them, her eyes fierce with determination. "You have trained hard and come together as a team. Remember, you are not just fighting for yourselves. You are fighting for every person on Earth. You are the shield that protects our future." The team felt a surge of pride and resolve. They were no longer just recruits, they were warriors ready to defend their planet. The ancient fleet, now filled with skilled pilots and a strong crew, was prepared to take to the stars. As the ships prepared for launch, the recruits took their positions. Jake and Maya exchanged determined glances, ready to face whatever awaited them. The moment had come. They would prove that humanity was not to be underestimated. With hearts racing, they set out to reclaim their home and seek justice for Lila and all the others who had suffered. The journey ahead would not be easy, but they were ready to fight. The day had finally arrived. The ancient fleet, now manned by the best pilots and crew Earth had to offer, prepared for its first mission. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement and nervousness. Jake and Maya stood together on the bridge of their ship, the Eagle's Wing. The vastness of space lay before them, a canvas for their courage. Dr. Ilara's voice rang through the ship's intercom. "Crew of the Eagle's Wing, today we take a stand. We will show the aliens that Earth will not be a target. Let's make our ancestors proud." Her words ignited a fire within the crew. They were ready. As they launched into space, the view outside transformed. The dark void sparkled with stars, but the beauty was overshadowed by the mission ahead. Their target was an alien stronghold, a base responsible for the attack on their colony. Reports indicated it was heavily guarded, but the crew was determined to succeed. The fleet moved in formation, a powerful sight against the backdrop of space. Maya piloted the ship with precision, while Jake monitored the systems, ensuring everything ran smoothly. "We're approaching the target zone," Jake said, his voice steady but filled with adrenaline. Suddenly, alarms blared, cutting through the tension. "We've been detected!" shouted one of the crew members. The screen flashed red as enemy ships emerged from the stronghold, their menacing shapes darting toward the fleet. "Prepare for battle!" Maya commanded, her hands gripping the controls. The first wave of alien ships closed in, weapons primed and ready. The crew sprang into action, moving as a well-oiled machine. Jake activated the ship's defense systems, while Maya deftly maneuvered the Eagle's Wing through the chaos. Laser blasts lit up the dark space around them, creating a dazzling yet terrifying light show. "Watch out!" Jake shouted as an alien ship swooped down, firing directly at them. Maya pulled the ship hard to the left, narrowly avoiding the blast. "That was close," she gasped, her heart racing. But there was no time to dwell on fear. They had to focus. As the battle raged, Jake and Maya communicated with the other ships in the fleet. "We need to flank them!" Jake suggested, recalling the strategies they had practiced. Let's hit them from both sides. Maya nodded, impressed by his quick thinking. On my mark, she called out. The Eagle's wing darted to the right, joining forces with another ship, the Starfire. Together, they launched a surprise attack, catching the aliens off guard. Laser blasts from the Starfire lit up the darkness while the Eagle's wing targeted the nearest enemy ship. The first alien ship exploded in a burst of fire and debris. Cheers erupted from the crew, boosting their morale. But the fight was far from over. More enemy ships surged forward, determined to defend their stronghold. Keep your cool! We've trained for this! Maya shouted, her confidence shining through. The crew focused on their tasks, working in perfect harmony. They dodged blasts and retaliated with precision, taking out enemy ships one by one. Dr. Alara watched from the command center, her heart pounding with pride. The crew had transformed from recruits to warriors, showcasing their skills and determination. But she knew they had to reach the stronghold's core to truly disrupt the aliens' operations. Let's push forward, she ordered. The fleet advanced toward the stronghold, facing fierce resistance. As they approached, Maya noticed a weakness in the enemy's defense. If we can target that turret, we might be able to break through, she exclaimed. With renewed focus, the crew set their sights on the turret, working together to coordinate their fire. They unleashed a barrage of laser blasts, and finally, the turret exploded in a shower of sparks. We did it! Jake cheered, adrenaline pumping through him. Taking advantage of the opening, the fleet charged toward the stronghold's entrance. Inside, the atmosphere was tense, filled with anticipation and the promise of victory. They could already envision the day when they would reclaim their peace. As the battle continued, it became clear that Earth was fighting back with strength and unity. The ancient fleet, once forgotten, was now a powerful symbol of hope. The crew knew they were not just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for everyone who had suffered. With each victory, they pushed deeper into the heart of the alien base, determined to reclaim their home. The counterattack was just beginning, and the crew of the Eagle's Wing was ready to make history. The battle was over. The ancient fleet, once hidden beneath the waves, had risen to defend Earth, and they had emerged victorious. As the last remnants of the alien stronghold faded into the void of space, cheers erupted from the crew of the Eagle's Wing. Joy mixed with relief filled the air, and for the first time in weeks, they felt the weight of fear begin to lift. Jake and Maya stood on the bridge, watching the destruction of the alien base from the viewport. The remnants of the battle sparkled like stars in the darkness. We did it, Jake whispered, a smile breaking across his face. Maya nodded, her heart swelling with pride. We really did. As they returned to Earth, the fleet received a warm welcome. People gathered at the spaceports, waving flags and cheering for the heroes who had fought for their lives. Families cried tears of joy, and survivors embraced their loved ones. It was a scene of unity and celebration, a testament to what humanity could achieve when they stood together. Dr. Alara stood among the crowd, her heart full as she watched her recruits transform into heroes. They had trained hard, faced their fears, and now they had saved their planet. As she made her way through the throng, she felt the hands of many grateful citizens, expressing their appreciation and admiration. She was proud of each and every one of them. Once back at the command center, the crew gathered for a debriefing. The atmosphere was filled with excitement, but also a sense of reflection. They had all witnessed the horrors of battle and the cost of their victory. Dr. Alara addressed them, her voice steady. Today we have shown that Earth is not to be underestimated. But we must remember the lives lost and the sacrifices made. We fought for our future, and we must honor that. Jake felt a lump in his throat. Lila's memory hung heavy in the air. She had inspired them to rise and fight. He glanced at Maya, who looked just as pensive. We need to ensure this never happens again, she said quietly. We have to learn from this. The crew agreed, understanding that their victory was not just about defeating the aliens, but also about preparing for the future. They discussed strategies for defense, sharing ideas and experiences from the battle. They would create a stronger coalition, ensuring Earth was always ready to protect itself. In the weeks that followed, the crew continued to train and prepare. They became mentors for new recruits, sharing their knowledge and experiences. Jake found joy in teaching others, watching them grow stronger and more confident. He felt a sense of purpose, knowing they were building a safer future. As the ancient fleet became a symbol of hope, many people across Earth rallied to support their efforts. Communities came together, raising funds and resources to strengthen their defenses. The unity was heartwarming, reminding everyone that they were stronger together. Maya often reflected on how much had changed since the attack. She had faced her fears and grown as a pilot and a leader. She understood that their battle was about more than just fighting aliens. It was about protecting what mattered most. Each day, she felt more driven to continue the fight for peace. One quiet evening, Jake stood on the deck of the Eagle's wing, gazing at the stars. The vastness of space was both intimidating and beautiful. He thought about Lila and all those who had suffered. They had fought bravely, but he knew the struggle was not over. The universe was vast, and they had to remain vigilant. Maya joined him, her presence a comforting weight. "What are you thinking about?" she asked softly. "About how far we've come," Jake replied, "but also how much more we need to do." They stood in silence, the stars twinkling above them like distant dreams. Together they understood that while the battle had been won, the war for peace was ongoing. They would continue to prepare, to train, and to fight for a future where everyone could live without fear. The ancient fleet was no longer just a relic. It was a beacon of hope, shining brightly in the dark expanse of the universe. With their hearts set on a better tomorrow, Jake, Maya, and their crew vowed to protect Earth and honor the memory of those they had lost. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their mission to safeguard their world.